enough. You are enough. Excellent to navigating the overcoming uniqueness of growth and healing. You are enough. There is power in you. You are enough. Are you ready to use the power that's inside of you? You are enough. Today you know you was always enough. Yes. We had a moment when we didn't have the confidence to be as bold and secure that we are now. You are enough. Yes, we had moments when we settled for that relationship that we weren't supposed to be in because it was toxic or not. Hello. Thank you for tuning in to The Power in Your Voice. And today we have the fabulous Dr. Rene Michelle in the building. How are we doing today?
I'm good, sis, and how are you?
That is great. I am well. Can you tell the people where you're tuning in from and what you do?
Okay, I am, as my sister mentioned, Dr. Rene Michelle, and I'm tuning in from Maryland. Actually, right now, I'm in, oh my gosh, I live in Clinton, Maryland. So, yeah. And what I do, I am a national advocate against domestic violence and sexual assault, as well as a survivor of all of the above.
Absolutely. And it's amazing to have you here today. Can you tell us a little bit about your story?
Okay. Well, normally my story has a lot of layers to it, and my story, I'm going to start from the beginning. I'm just going to share a little bit about my childhood. At an early age, as early as 5 is what I can remember, I was sexually assaulted, molested by several family members. At the ages of 11, 14, and 26, I was raped. I eventually, when I got older, my late 20s, I met a young man who I thought was going to be my knight in shining armor. He ended up being more like a nightmare. It was nice in the beginning, of course. And then after a short period of time, I would say about a 2-month period, I started noticing changes in him. He started being emotionally, verbally, and mentally abusive to me. And then eventually the physical abuse came in. And as far as that's concerned, he beat me so severely that I ended up having grand mal epileptic seizures and being flown away because I had 6 seizures in a row to Baltimore shock trauma, where they lost me and resuscitated me due to severe blows to my head at the hands of my abuser. So yeah, I mean, I eventually ended up running for my life from him. And when I ended up finally leaving him, I found out that I was pregnant by my abuser. And I now have a beautiful 33-year-old daughter by my abuser. So she's a blessing. But yeah, I did, thank God, get out of that situation. But I literally had to run for my life in order to get away from him. So,
absolutely. What advice would you have for someone that may be dealing with sexual assault or abuse with their partner or family members?
What I would advise, I would never, ever say to them, just leave, because it's not that simple. A lot of people that just left ended up dead. If I had just left, I possibly would have been like my cousin Shay, who was shot 3 times and bludgeoned to death at the hand of her abuser. So I would advise anyone that is in the domestic violence situation to make a strategic like a plan, a safety plan, like if you have children that are involved in the situation, get copies of their birth certificates, social security cards, place these things out somewhere outside the home where they're going to be safe. Take a little bit of clothing at a time. Don't make it obvious for the abuser, so he won't have any idea what you're doing. That way it won't draw any attention to him to cause you, to do any harm to you or your children. So I would just say definitely make a safety plan. And, as far as sexual assault is concerned, It happened to me, as I said, as early as 5. So, as a child that young, you don't know what to do. You just know that it's happening to you, and it doesn't feel right, but you think it's normal because it's been happening to you for so long. So once you get older, I would say to my childhood self, tell somebody. Like, tell somebody that you feel like you can trust, because if it doesn't feel right, then it isn't right. 9 times out of 10. So if I knew better, which as a child, of course, you're not going to know.
Right.
But now that I know what I know, I would say to any child or anyone that's going through this that they need to speak up and share, you know, that with whoever they feel comfortable sharing it with.
Absolutely. So during this process, it made you become an advocate. So tell me, what is your mission with your advocacy and what are you doing now to help?
Oh my gosh. My mission is to eventually at some point open up my own safe house for women, men, and children who dealt with domestic violences, and things like that, and to be sure to help in every way, like, because like I said, with me, I when I ran or whatever, I lost. You lose everything. A lot of people lose everything because I left everything. So I want to make sure that they have all the resources, clothing, to, if they didn't finish their education, you know some type of furtherance, some type of classes where they can further their education, whether it be their GED, high school, whatever. Help them to get to the point where they need to be so they can start over, and they don't have any worries about anything. They can start their life over and be okay. That's my mission, and that's my goal, is to do that.
And the other part of the question is, what are you doing now to help?
Oh boy. I have, I've helped so many people. What I do is, and what I have done is, people will call me. My phone has rang 12, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning to get help as far as the domestic violence is concerned. And if I can't I call, whomever I have, my connections. If I can't get them into the safe house, that evening, I have put them up in hotels until I can get them there. And I've went to court and advocated with several people, as well as help walk them through the process of filing police reports and doing restraining orders and, everything, things like that. I've literally talked to one of my clients on the phone, and what I do is just for their safety, I asked them to give me their favorite color. And by this time, we've already had a rapport, and I have their information. So at any point, if there's they feel any type of danger that they're in, they text me that color. And as soon as they text me that color, I know to call 911, to directly to their house. So different things like that, that I do when it comes to my clients and things like that.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
So if I would like to say, aren't is there a book out already? Or
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, actually, I have right now. I have 3 books that are out on Amazon. I have my first book that I rarely talk about, but we'll get into that another day. Then I have my second book, which was a bestseller. Um, it is called brain freeze. It is called Moments in Her Story, like history, Moments in Her Story from Pain to Purpose. So that's a collaborative. It's a bestseller. My story is there. And in that book, which a lot of people don't know, I was in a in a domestic violence situation more than once. So that book there shares my second domestic violence story that I really barely talk about. And I said I'm going to start speaking up about that story as well. But anybody that has purchased that book, they know that story. But yeah, and then I have um, a book that I did with my mentor, Mildred Muhammad, the ex-wife of the DC sniper. That's my mentor, and I did a collaborative with her and about 12 other authors, sharing my story there. That book is on Amazon as well. It's In the Midst of Chaos. Sometimes home is the worst place to be, and that is with, like I said, Mildred Muhammad and 12 other authors. And my first book that I published myself, which I'm excited about, is my children's book. And that is that the launch date for that is supposed to be April 11th, which is coming up really fast here. And I'm so excited about this book. It shares basically it shares some of this story, some of my story from my childhood, sexual assault, and it talks about my second grade teacher that hope helped me open my eyes to a lot of things as a child, dealing with sexual assault and not knowing which way to go. And it offers a lot. It offers you, it talks about good touch and bad touch, and so many different things that are going to be helpful to not only children, but to parents.
Right.
So it's not just kid friendly; it's to the parents, so you can understand from the perspective of a child what you need to do. Open your eyes and pay attention to your children. So I did the book, so it was just not about the children, which that's very important. That's the most important. But I also did it because I need parents to understand that if you don't pay attention to your children, guess what? Somebody else will, and it may not be in the way that you want or the way that you're going to like, because it happened to me, and I don't want anyone to have to endure what I endured as a child. Because I just actually, from the age of 5, I just started speaking out about my abuse in 2012, and that's a lot to carry.
Yeah.
You know, from a 5-year old to 2012. I don't even remember how old I was. I was in my 20s, but when I finally spoke out about it, it was heavy, but it was a 1,000-pound weight lifted off of me. It was just like I felt so free, and but I wouldn't want anybody else to have to endure that ever. So yeah.
Absolutely. Now, question being that you said from all this time you just started talking out about it, how hard was it for you to actually decide to use your voice? Because the show was called The Power in Your Voice. How hard was it? And two, what gave you the push to finally speak out?
Um, it was very hard. It was very hard. And I'm gonna tell you something. My I'm not even gonna lie to you. I'm gonna keep it a beam with you. I did not have any faith in God. I didn't have any faith in God. Because all I could think about was, where was God when I was being molested all my life? And where was he when I was being raped? And where is he now while I'm getting beat? So, but with little faith I had, I took it and I just went with it. And I know it was God that pushed me this particular night when I could not sleep. And he kept saying to me, I need you to say something. I need you to say something now. No, not tomorrow, not the day after, now. I literally got on the computer. I had a Facebook page, but I didn't never had did a group or anything. So I got on there and I started this group, and the first thing that came to my head was domestic violence, love don't hurt. And I literally got on there and shared my whole story from the age of 5 up until that point on that page. And when I say it was like a windstorm, it was like people started reaching, family members, friends, people that knew me all my life were like, "What? Oh my God, Rene, like you're always smiling and laughing and trying to make everybody laugh. No one would have ever known that you endured all that." And that's the thing. That's what we do. We try to cover it up with makeup and our hair and get everything all fancy because we don't want nobody to know our mess. But at that point, God said, "It's time for you to speak." and I need you to speak right now. And that's exactly what I did. I shared. And from that point on, the radio shows were calling me to come and interview with them, TV interviews, and different things like that. And I've been sharing my story ever since then around the country.
Amazing, amazing. And I know that took a lot because a lot of times to take the bandage off and actually speak our truth and take the mask down, it
Hmm.
can be a difficult task, but I commend you for taking the steps and getting comfortable in your own skin and
Yeah.
being okay with saying I wasn't okay then and I'm
Hmm.
still working on myself now and this is a new journey.
Yeah.
So, for some parents that might not know the signs, what are some signs they could be looking for a child that might have went through sexual assault?
What I would say, I do a parenting class, and I have been doing this parenting class for 11 years from the perspective of a child that went through trauma. And what I say to them, the first thing I say to them is pay attention to your children. Pay attention to your children, and nobody knows your children like you do. So if you notice changes in them, I was a sweet, innocent little girl with these long ponytails and little, like innocent. If you notice your child's innocence is taken away, is not she's not acting like herself. As I got older, I started dressing differently, like wearing tight clothing and my behaviors. Pay attention to their behaviors and say something to them. Ask questions. Ask them, are they okay? Sometimes they don't feel comfortable talking to their parents. Possibly what happened to me was when I was 14, when I was raped. It was my father's girlfriend's son who raped me, and he told me, if you tell your dad, he's going to kill me. And at that point was the first time I was able to even have visitation with my dad after we ran from him, because I'm a second generation domestic abuse survivor as well. So we ran from my dad at 10, and this is my first time being able to see him again since I was 10 years old. So in my mind, I'm thinking, I can't tell him because, yeah, he probably will kill him, and I won't see him ever then. So, that's the way they tell you that you're gonna get killed. They're gonna kill you, or or something, like that, and then you're afraid. So that's exactly what happened to me. So I would just say to any parent that's out there, if you notice changes in your child, sit them down and talk to them. I have 3 children. I drill my kids. They sick of me. They were sick of me, but it's necessary for you to do that. It's necessary for you to do that, and they're not necessarily always going to come right out and tell you right away. But you give it a try, and if not, then guess what? Find somebody that they're comfortable with. You always have a fun aunt or auntie or somebody, a cousin that they're really close to. Allow them, ask them, could they talk to them? If you see changes, and then you just go from there, because that's all we can do. Until they feel comfortable enough to come out and talk about what's going on with them, and hopefully they won't wait until they're in their 20s like I did.
Absolutely.
You
Now,
know,
as you wrote this book, writing books, journaling, it's all, a healing process. What do you feel that you learned during this
I think
process
you're
about
frozen again because I can't. Can you hear me?
I can.
I don't know if it's my end that's frozen or what. Probably so.
Well, guys,
But you're frozen. I I know you probably can hear me, but I can't hear you,
while we're waiting
and
on
you're
her
not
to come
moving.
back, I'm going to thank everybody for tuning in. I want to thank Miss Teresa for tapping in here today. And then
Mm.
we had Lima. Thank y'all pretty much for tapping in. Please like, share, and follow. Oh, we got
Come
questions.
out,
As
go
soon as
out, and
I
come
get
back
her
in.
back in here and get her back in here, we'll definitely ask her that question, Teresa. If anybody else have any questions, have anything else y'all would like to ask her when she comes back in, please make sure that y'all tap in, make sure y'all please like, share, comment. Let me know that you're watching, because if y'all don't say hey, I won't know that you're there and I can't give you a shout out. While we're waiting up, she came back. Hold on. Can you hear us now?
Yes, I can.
All
Sorry about
right,
that.
guys, we got her back. There was a question in the comments as well. So the question from Dr. Teresa was, what did you find help you put words to express what happened to you?
What did I find help? Could you repeat that question one more time? I'm sorry.
It said, what did you find? I'm going to put it up. It said, what did you find to help you put words to express what happened to you?
What did I find helped? Um, Actually, what I found help was, as I mentioned, me finally getting it all off of me. That was my first time that I, like ever spoke about it. So once I started speaking about it and sharing it, that's what helped me to begin my healing process. Me talking about it. And, that's basically what it was me getting it off of me not um, holding on to all of that luggage, anymore. I released it, and that began my healing process.
Absolutely. Did you go to therapy? Did you
Yes. Back before I didn't go to therapy because I'm like,
the
I'm not
first
crazy.
time or the
Yeah,
second? Okay.
yeah, I'm not crazy. I'm not going. You know how we do. I'm not crazy. Yeah, I've been through some stuff, but I'm not crazy. So, and then I woke up because the reality
Yeah.
is
You don't have to be
there.
great. You don't have to be crazy to go to therapy.
Hello.
And
No,
that's the stigma. A lot of
that's the
people always, think that, oh, why go to therapy? That means I'm crazy. But you're going to therapy to give yourself help and guidance and tools.
Yeah, but if you don't know, you don't know. But when you know
Right.
better, you do better. And
Absolutely.
I did better, and I went to therapy, and it helped me a lot. And I would advise anyone that's gone through any type of trauma, whether it's sexual assault or domestic violence, to please, see a therapist and help, get. I call it getting that mess off of you. Because unpacking it, peeling back the layers, whatever you want to call it, that's exactly what I would suggest they do, because that's exactly what I did. And I've been peeling layers for years now, and I'm not, totally healed. Because guess what? In the reality, it ain't a person on the face of this earth is ever going to be 100% healed, no matter what kind of therapist they have. We're going to be dealing with this for the rest of our life. That's the reality of it. And we just have to learn how to cope and how to, you know of course, I am, you know doing great. I'm doing great, because at one point when I started speaking, I couldn't open my mouth without and get any words out without crying. They're like, okay, is she gonna stop crying so she can get she can, so we can get this thing going? And eventually, I stopped crying.
Yeah.
I stopped crying, and I don't get me wrong. I always made it through it, but it was always, because it was all new, and it was painful. To this day, certain things are still painful, but I know it's necessary, because in order for me to help anyone else to heal, to help anyone else, it's necessary for me to share my story. And this is my purpose. So I'm going to do what I need to do.
Absolutely. Like, a lot of times, we have to remember healing is a constant journey.
Yeah.
Irregardless if you healed one part, there's still something else you're healing from. And yes,
Layers.
going through trauma, there's
Hmm.
there's always a trigger, unfortunately, because it's something that has been embedded in us, but we have gained the tools to respond differently now.
Right. Right. Hey, there you go. That's it. That is it. That's it. And we're going to constantly be peeling back the layers of our situations that have happened to us. And as time goes on, the more we talk about it and we share, and we, we share our testimonies, that's the more our layers will be peeled back, and then eventually at some point, is the weight is going to be lifted.
It gets less heavier.
So
It gets less heavier. It gets less, feeling like you got a ton of bricks on your back. It
for
it
sure.
helps, it helps take things to a more comfortable spot for you. And
Right.
it helps people that is still going through it or now dealing with it, help them to find their comfortability.
Exactly. Yeah, and a lot of people tell me, like when you share your story, you share it in a way where it feels like I was sitting right there watching it actually happen to you. I didn't really get into deep with my story today, but I mean, I literally went through with my daughter's father. He was a professional boxer, and he played Russian roulette with me. He put guns to my head, and that was his way of controlling me. And I mean, he did so much. He literally beat me. The first time he physically hit me, he beat me and drugged me past his sister, his brother-in-law, and their two twins who were 5 at the time, into his bedroom, and he beat me bloody.
Mm.
And after that, he picked me up off the ground and he turned me around and looked at me and said to me, you're not leaving me, right? Because now the cat's out the bag. He
Right.
showed me who he was. And at that point, of course, out of fear, I said no. So he said, good, because if you do, this is what's going to happen. And he put a gun to my head and pulled the trigger.
Mm.
And at that point, he began to make Russian roulette a regular part of my life in order to keep me in fear. And it worked. When I say I was scared of this man, I was scared. Like, it was like I was no longer a Rene. I was just like a robot or something. I did whatever he told me. And that's how I lived, for a year and a half in fear, and trying to think of a way to get out, but afraid to. If you call the police, I'm going to kill you. If you get your family involved, I'm not only going to kill you, but I'm going to kill them too. So you don't want to get them involved because you don't want anybody to die
Right.
on account of you because you made the wrong decision. You chose the wrong person. So you stay quiet. But I'm going to tell you, the night that I escaped him, I had literally, in his eyes, I made the mistake of calling the police on him prior to that. And I already said to myself, oh my God, I was afraid that, and so me calling the police scared him to the point where he didn't come around for a few days. So I'm thinking to myself, well, maybe, he won't come back around because he's afraid the police are looking for him. So 1, 2, 3 days go by. I come home from work. I worked at a restaurant and lounge, and I would look around my house, and because he would break into my apartment, I would look around my whole house to see if he was in there. Coast was clear for 2 days. The third day I come in, I look and do the same thing, and I'm feeling comfortable by this time. I get back to my bedroom, and who's there but him,
Mm.
kneeling down, his gun on my dresser, and he's sitting, kneeling, crying, begging me to forgive him. Only thing I could say to myself was, Lord, please take care of my family because I'm going to die tonight. That's exactly what I thought. I did everything this man told me to do that night. I laid down with him. I did everything. And I laid there. I didn't sleep at all. But I asked God, like I said, I didn't have much faith in God. But what little faith I had, I asked him to please get me out of that situation alive. And if he did, I would do anything. The next day, I haven't seen my family. Isolation is real when it comes to
Yeah.
domestic.
Yes, it is.
I have not seen my family in over a year and a half. The following day, I was at his apartment looking, which was diagonally across from mine, and I saw these two females at my door, and I'm looking out his window, and he's in the bathroom. I said, "I'm gonna run to my apartment, and I'll be right back." Normally, I couldn't go anywhere without him. He had his own business, so he scheduled his hours around mine. He said, okay, go ahead and come right back. I ran. When I say I ran like a free slave, by the time I got over to my apartment, they were pulling off. At that point, I
Mm.
didn't know who it was. I chased the car down, banged on the window, and said that it was two of my cousins that decided that day, let's go check on Renee.
Mm.
I said, don't ask any questions, grab anything that looks important and run. We each grabbed a handful of my clothing and I ran for my life. And I didn't look back. And as I mentioned, when I left, I didn't leave alone. I eventually found out I was pregnant by my abuser. My daughter's now 33 years old. And, I suffer from grand mal epileptic seizures due to severe blows to my head at the hands of my abuser because of that as well. So
But you're here.
I'm
And
here.
you're here.
Hallelujah.
You're here.
Yes, I'm
But
here.
God.
Yes. And guess what? It's not by mistake.
Right.
It's
You
not
got
by
you
mistake
you
because you
you
know
got
why?
work to do.
Thank you. And not only that, when I had 6 seizures in a row, they flew me away to Baltimore shock trauma. They lost me on the helicopter. God did not blow air back into my lungs for me to sit back and be quiet and say nothing. And I told God I said, God, if you get me out of this situation alive, I will do anything. He kept his promise to me, and I've been keeping my promise to him ever since because he got me out of that situation. So,
Absolutely. I want to continue to shout out everybody that is watching. Miss Teresa. We had I think her name is Arlene. And then we had Terry Beasley.
hi, Terry.
Who else was in here? Everybody, please keep liking, sharing, and comment. Jessica was in the building. Jessica Holloway. Everybody, please continue to like, share, and comment. Thank you for tuning in with us tonight. So, what is next for Dr. Rene?
I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. I just lost my mother August the 9th of this past year. So when that happened, it was the worst experience in my whole life. Nothing has hurt me worse than that in my life. And I'll be 58 March 22nd. And I've never felt a pain like that before. But on the other side of it, it put this it put this something in me to the point where now it's like everything that I started, I'm finishing now, which I wasn't doing before. I think my mother dying has given me the extra strength to go forward for her because as I mentioned, I was her voice as well. She was beaten for 17 years by my dad, and I was her voice. And now I feel like I have to do this, not just for me, for her,
Right.
because she was silent and she was proud of her daughter. She was proud that I finally, and she thanked me. She thanked me, before she died, she thanked me, for being her voice because she didn't have the courage to do it. And that's what I think about a lot. And that's what keeps me going. That's what keeps me moving forward. That's what makes me not quit because this is not easy. Sharing your life, these horrible things that's happened to you, as family members molesting you and being raped and all. This is not something that I wanted to do, that I chose. That, people sometimes, unfortunately, the unfortunate part about it is it's other advocates that treat you, worse than people that aren't. They make it seem like it's a competition, whose story is the worst. And it's horrible. I just pray about it because it's really sad. I wish I could delete and erase everything that happened to me. I don't, someone literally said, do you really believe that she had all those things happen to her? Because how is she even still sane if she was raped and all of this from the age of 5 and still sane? How is she even still sane? And the answer to that question is the man that I didn't have any faith in then. That's the answer to that question. So at this point, that's what it is. Okay, we froze
Sometimes
again.
they
We froze again. Let me see.
thank
Can
you
you hear me, sis?
thank you everyone for tuning in while we're
Okay, I'm
trying
gonna
to
have to go back out and come back in.
while we're trying to
Oh, I
get
guess
her
it's
back
my end.
in. Um
Let me see.
We had a few people that tapped in. They said, "Thank you for sharing your truth. I know and understand how healing prevails." Then we'll go to, "I speak with families and individuals who say we just talking, it's a conversation. Therapy is a resource that can help." Yes, it is. We had someone else said that always helps. You know, a lot of times we have to have these hard conversations because at times, you know, it's swept under the rug or it's not talked about. And we have to remember that, you know, in order to have the harder conversations, is to just talk about it. No, sexual assault is not fair. No, domestic violence is not fair. No, losing a kid is not fair. But at the end of the day, we have to remember these are the conversations that we have to have in order to be able to move into the part of healing. Healing comes as the tone of having the hard conversations. Healing comes as the tone of being able to say, yes, this happened to me, but now you need to understand my journey. And
Yeah.
now we're back. Hi.
Hey there. You know what? I think I figured out what it was. Is well, I think we solved the problem. So sorry about that.
It's
I'm
okay. Listen, we was in here still. I was waiting. I told them you was coming back. It's all
That's
right.
right. I ain't no quitter.
It's up. But listen, we gonna push through all the glitches. That's
Yes,
okay.
yes,
We here.
yes. Because that you know who that is. We ain't even gonna give him no credit.
But
We ain't gonna
not
say his name.
absolutely not. We in here like swimwear. You had someone else that did drop in and they said just favor just ain't fair.
Yeah,
So just
yeah.
know at times people are gonna feel your story is maybe a lie or they're gonna judge you because they don't understand.
Hmm.
But the only person can tell your story is you.
Yeah, and this is facts. And the thing about it is I've never been offended by anything anyone says because I don't worry about what people say. The only person that I worry about is the man upstairs,
Yes,
who knows exactly what happened because he was there to see it, and he's the one that helped me. And the whole time when I was asking that question, where was he when I was being molested, and where was he when I was being raped, and where is he now? Now that I know better, I know where he was. He was carrying me. He was carrying that 5-year-old little girl. He was carrying me through all that mess. He carried me through all of that. I didn't know at the time, but now I know. So I answered my own question.
right.
He carried me through all of that. That's who got me through. Mentally, that's why I'm sane still, because God pushed me through all of that. And that's the bottom line. So
Absolutely.
I don't worry about naysayers. I pray for
Listen,
them.
we can't because I've had people listen, people are gonna tell you your story a lie or they're gonna hear something from someone else and say, oh no, that wasn't true. But the only person that knows you, God, and the person that it went through. And at the end of the day, your story is your glory and your season is what you've been through, and it's your story and your testimony to tell. And
Right.
nobody can tell you how to tell it, how to live through it, and how to deal with it.
Right. And there were other people involved, like I said, his sisters, people to know the truth. But
Mhm.
I'm not sitting around here trying to explain nothing and justify nothing to people that most of them already know the story. I don't have it's enough time, it's not enough time in the day for me to sit here and make something up about another individual. I got better things I could be doing my time. But at any rate, I'm here. I made it through. I thank God, that I still have all my faculties, and that instead of me being bitter, I turn my pain into my purpose, which is the name of my nonprofit that I have, Pain to Purpose, because that's what it is. I
So
turn.
tell us about your nonprofit. What do y'all do and what is your mission and what made you decide to create the nonprofit?
What made me decide to create the nonprofit is because of the things that when I was going through my time, my trauma and everything. A lot of things that we have available to us now, we didn't have back then, and I wanted to make sure that I, you know, was able to give those services to other people because I remember what I went through at the time. And back then, Prince George's County Police Department, they literally left me for dead at the time. I didn't have any,
Mm.
I didn't have any. When I finally did call the police, they left me for dead. They told me, "Oh well, ma'am, I don't see any bruises on you. You see how chocolate I am. I know the light is making me look a little, but they literally said to me, ma'am, I don't see any bruises on you. So what we're going to do is we're going to send him his way. You go back in the house. And if we get any more phone calls at this address tonight, somebody's going to jail." They left me there.
Mm.
He broke back into my apartment. And before he beat me, he literally showed me the number of the female cop that took him around the corner to talk to him and said to me, excuse my expression, B, you see, they don't even care anything about you. And at that point, at that point, I did not have any faith in the justice system. And now I work for it. Now I'm an officer myself. So it all came full circle. But back then, yeah, it was like, it was bad. So
You have someone in the comments that says, please reach out how we can help and be assistance.
how they can help and be
Help and
assistance.
be assistance.
Okay. So I am literally on every social media that there is. I do have a website, but it's being worked on. It's called paintopurpose.com. It's down right now, but you can reach me on Facebook, Rene Michelle, Rene, the same way it's spelled on here. That's how you can find me on Facebook, on Instagram, and just about every social media that there is. That's how you can find me, Renee Michelle. And you can also Google, for more information about uh, my nonprofit and everything.
Listen, you are out here doing amazing things. I'm going to commend you for being that fabulous thriver that you are. Now, we were just talking about how the cops weren't helpful. And,
Mhm.
I've been through that journey to where they look at you like you're crazy because they don't see any any scars.
Right, right.
No. And the thing about it is people don't understand abuse ain't just physical.
Mm-mm. No, ma'am.
It's a lot of other things that's behind it. You have the verbal, the financial, the
Yeah,
spiritual,
right,
the the emotional. It's
hmm,
it's so many different versions of it. So where some
right.
people don't even know that they're getting abused.
Yeah, yeah. 80% of abuse is there's no physical scars. The other 10% is where you see the bruises and things, but 80% of abuse, there's no, is mental, verbal, emotional, like you said, financial, and it's a lot. And people, they're just really starting to acknowledge that and
Mhm.
consider that. But, for the longest time, if you didn't have a black eye, you
You
weren't.
ain't getting abused.
And that's the furthest thing from the truth, because guess why? Mental and emotional and verbal abuse is worse, because you still hear that in your head years later. You ain't nothing. You ain't going to never be nothing. Mentally, that doesn't go away. That black eye eventually, it goes down, and those bruises go away. But other than that, it's just like, it's more to abuse than just physical.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it happens again, Tanya. And it happened. Hold on. Uh
Certainly understand, as I had three officers who were extremely rude and unprofessional. Yeah, it's really sad on how cops really treat the victim when they're dealing with domestic violence. I've had it to where, I had a whole restraining order and I was supposed to have no contact, and the person still was calling me. They was calling me from jail. And they tell me, why don't I just change my phone number? My thing is, why should I have to change my number when there's supposed to be a whole contact order? So the conversation I was having, because someone said when we were talking about the officers, she said, certainly
okay.
understand, as I had three officers who were extremely rude and unprofessional to her.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, it's really sad because things are a lot different now. Like I said, I'm a federal officer for the Department of Defense myself. So who would have ever thought it? But I didn't have any after that. I didn't have any like it was nothing they could do for me. I never, it was just like but now, I work with them, and it's sad, but we have come a long way. We've come a long way as far as the police and domestic violence is concerned. I've helped get 3 bills passed at the House of Delegates against domestic violence by sharing my story and everything and things like that. So we are coming a long way. We have a long way to go, but we have come a long way since when I was going through what I went through.
Yes. Would you like to share your information about your book that's launching, about your launch
Hmm.
before we end the show today?
Yes, I would love to. As I mentioned earlier, my book is a children's book, and it shares some of my story of me dealing with my second grade teacher, and she without even knowing that she was bringing out she was the first person that noticed the change in me when my parents weren't paying attention, basically. And she basically asked me to share with her how I was feeling because she saw the change, and um, I gave her the example of a caged bird, and
Mm,
she expressed to me that a bird, you can't sing and you can't be free. Don't you want to be free? Type, something to that effect. And, in my book, it also gives information on good touch and bad touch. But like I mentioned, it's not just for the children, it's for the parents as well to broaden their horizon, to wake them up, to let them know that you have to pay attention to your children.
right.
Because if you don't, somebody else will, and you are
Absolutely.
not going to like it. You may not like the way that they pay attention to them. So that's what my children's book is basically, excuse me, about. And it gives information to the sexual assault hotlines and different things like that. Um, that's the book that I'm launching April the 11th. I'm having an event in Waldorf, Maryland, God willing. And then I have my other book that's coming out, Unmuted, which will be out in October of this year as well. So,
Listen, that cover, I'm going to tell y'all now, if y'all have not seen that cover, it's fire.
thanks, sis.
Listen, I seen that cover. What's crazy is I seen the cover earlier before I came on here. I said, listen, mic drop. She did that. I can't wait.
Thank you. Wait till you read it. Like I literally, because I've been working on these things for years, but like I said, it was something in me that was causing me to start and stop.
Yeah.
Lead this project over here, lead that project over there. But when I lost my mother, it's no more stopping. You
Right.
gotta go. You have to go. Because at some point, I gotta share my mother's story. My mother wrote a book. I'm gonna share my mother's story. I don't even know her full story, but it's in a book that I have. And at some point, I'm gonna be her voice again. I'm gonna share her full story. And I'm probably not I'm definitely not gonna, I'm afraid of what I'm gonna read, but it's necessary.
Which it
It's,
is.
it's necessary, and I'm going to do it. Whatever I have to go through, I'm going to do it because I love my mom, and I want her to be finally free and know that her story was finally heard, and it was hers. It wasn't, me speaking, her speaking through me. It was her story that's finally out there. And she deserves that. My mother was a great mother. My mother was a great mother. My mother literally, like I said, we ran away and went into hiding when I was 10 years old to Washington D.C. And my mom, my father kidnapped us, took us out of my grandfather's yard, told my mother that she would never be able to see us again unless she came back. My mother came back just to be with her children to get beat again
Mm,
until she finally decided to leave. And her story is powerful as well, and I'm going to make sure that the world hears her story as well too.
absolutely. So tell them again how to connect with you and be able to work with you.
Mhm.
Leave them some words for the week because it's a new week, new goals, new
Yeah.
beginnings.
So, well, what I'll leave with everyone here is no matter what anybody thinks, no matter who, with rank, with position, because like I said, I work with a lot of different people in different, places, and people will try their best to dim your light. Please do not allow them to. And also, don't lower yourself to their level. Rise above them. Rise above them. Be the bigger person that you are, and don't even allow people to drag you down with them. Just, you know, do what you need to do for yourself. Continue to be the beautiful person that you are, and don't allow anybody to break you, because they will try, but we're not letting them. Mm-mm. We're gonna continue to win in the right way over here, okay? The right way. We're not worried about, no nonsense. We worried about what he thinks, what he wants us to do, and what he wants us to do is the right thing, no matter what anybody else does. Period. And for as far as contacting me, like I mentioned, on every social media, the name is here, Rene Michelle. You can find me. You can Google me, Rene Michelle Advocate, and then you'll get more information pertaining to my nonprofit and the things that I'm doing, upcoming things that I have coming up. So.
Thank you, sis, for always tapping in. I thank you for dropping by and giving us, a piece of your story. Like, we ain't even got half. We just got a piece.
Yeah, it's a lot.
We'll take that piece, because every time we'll get another piece. So
right.
We'll take the piece that we got today, and we're gonna eat up on that. And then next time you tap in, I'm gonna let y'all know now. I'm gonna have her back in April. She ain't gotta tell you, but I'm telling you, she'll be back in April. So make sure y'all tune in back in April for another piece.
I will be here. Looking forward to it, sis.
But as
thank
always,
you. Can I say this to you?
Yeah, absolutely.
You are phenomenal. I'm gonna give you your flowers too. I know this supposed to be about me, but sis, you are phenomenal. And I'm following you. I'm tapping in. I'm talking to you. You always have time. You make time. You are a beautiful person inside and out. And I thank God that He brought us together. That I met you. And I just wanted you to know that I appreciate you and everything and all the work that you're doing. So I just wanted to say that.
I thank you as always. Thank you, sis. Y'all trying to make me cry on my show. Cut it out. Not today. But I thank you for the flowers, honey. Because the work I don't do it for the glory. I just do it for, being His vessel. He allows me to still be here. So why not continue to be dope, dedicated to other people's empowerment?
That's right. That's it.
Right there. As always, guys, we are going to thank Dr. Rene for being here in the building. Make sure y'all follow her. Make sure y'all tap in with her. Make sure y'all go get her book. Remember, it is launching in April. Please make sure y'all tap in. #tap in. #tap in.
Oh, come on.
To everybody that is watching now or later, please like, share, and comment, because it might be someone that needs this to hear this to help their glory. As always, this has been your host, Dr. Sheena Gadan, better known as the Lady Behind the Mask. You can find me on Facebook as Dr. Sheena Gadan. You can find me on Instagram as the Lady Behind the Mask 22. As always, we're here to educate, motivate, and inspire. Until the next time, actually, we will be having a show tomorrow. So make sure y'all tap in tomorrow again. And we will also have another one on Tuesday. I am just bringing the heat this week. So be in, be here, and be ready. Rene, don't leave. Stay in the back. I'll be back. I'll see y'all later, guys.
Take care, everyone. Take care.
Not anymore. My toxicness will stop me from loving myself or trusting others in my peaceful place. Not anymore. My lack of post-trauma is going to stop me from my future growth. Yes, not anymore. I know I'm powerful. I know I'm overcoming. I know I'm a positive. I know I'm loved. And yes, not anymore. I'm dope. Dedicated to other people and empowerment. I love my dopeness, and so should you.